It's all the above, best believe we do it better. I want the fame, the fortune, all the above. I want the checks, the moolah, all the above. From Philadelphia to New York, all the above. Man, tell them other stations they don't do it like us. I want the fame, the fortune, all the above. I want the checks, the moolah, all the above. From Philadelphia to New York, all the above. Man, tell them other stations they don't do it like us. What up?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's your girl, Angel Marie from All of the Above, and I am joined here today by four-time Emmy-winning producer, artist, and ventriloquist, Megan Piphus. How are you?
Doing so great. Happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me to the show.
Absolutely. So how have you been? How was your weekend? How's your week going? All that good stuff.
Oh, the week is going great. I'm in a really creative phase right now. I'm working on my album, Cinderella Sweep, which releases this July. Next single will be coming out in June. We released the first single, A New Cinderella, but I've been working hard getting the album done.
Cinderella.
Nice. And how's that experience been?
It's been really fun. I'm as a children's performer, the beauty is that when I'm working, it's enjoyable for my kids to, to be in the room and work with me. So there's been a few of the songs that I've written with my kids in their room while they're playing with toys, and every now and then they'll either sing along or help me write a line.
I like that. It's like you get more bang for your buck, right? So are you ready to start this interview?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. So first and foremost, what inspired you to pursue a career in puppetry, ventriloquism, and entertainment in general?
Yeah, I grew up watching all of the icons of puppetry, not realizing it was an art form that I could learn. So I watched Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop. Sherry Lewis was so wonderful. I didn't realize she was a ventriloquist until many years later when I was trying to learn because she was so flawless and great. Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. There were all of these shows that featured strong puppet characters. And so when I got the opportunity to be on a puppet team at my church, I immediately jumped and said, yeah, this is something I would like to learn. And I was inspired by female puppeteers that I saw at a conference. They told stories and sang songs with their characters. And I loved the beautiful crossover between a human and something that wasn't real coming to life. And so that inspired me to start the art form to not just do puppetry, but to create stories and spark the imagination of the audiences that I was performing in front of.
I love that. And with ventriloquism, like you make it look easy, and others in your field make it look very easy, but it is actually hard to talk clearly with your mouth completely shut. How
Yeah.
did you teach yourself that? Because I know you learned through VHS tapes at a very young age. So how did you manage to perfect your craft?
I perfected by practice, 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 and then also performing in front of my friends and my parents, specifically my mom. She was extremely critical. She's a speech language pathologist. And so I would perform in front of her because she was my toughest crowd. I would perform in front of her and she would go, I can't understand nothing you saying. And then, and then so she would run me through all of the words that I needed to work on. And she really helped me improve and helped me, fix my face so it looked natural. So for a while, I was just, looking like this when I was doing ventriloquism. And she would say, Megan, smile, smile. And she would take me to my different performances at festivals and churches, and she'd be in the audience like,
But what I taught you.
yes, exactly.
Well, after perfecting your craft, you began to travel across the US and then you even landed an audition spot on America's Got Talent. So, what motivated you to bring your talents on such a large scale platform?
I always wanted to share what I had learned with the world and envision myself being able to share positive messages. Like my mission as a teenager was to share God's love throughout the world using what I had learned, and I got that opportunity through America's Got Talent. After I appeared on that show, it gave me international exposure because America's Got Talent at the time and probably still now was played in every country in the world. And so after America's Got Talent, I got to perform in Guyana, Bermuda, Italy, Germany. So it really did open up the world.
I like that. And above all else, with you being on America's Got Talent, obviously it propelled your career trajectory. You still always was an academic scholar. You pursued your bachelor's and your master's at Vanderbilt University with a degree in economics, music, and Spanish. Why was it important to you to further your education, although your career was moving in a great path?
I mean, I'm a nerd. I love learning. I'm gonna be honest, like I always loved school. And I think that really influenced my art is because I loved being able to teach lessons creatively through the arts. And so whether it was making a creative video that taught a lesson or writing a script that taught a lesson, I love education. I think that's the beauty of us humans is that we can never stop growing and learning new things. The older I get, the more I realize I don't know. So,
All need to continuously learn.
yeah,
We don't know everything.
right. And I've gotten more comfortable with saying that I don't know something. So I love being a student. If I could go to school again and have the time to go to school, I probably would, but I've always just loved school.
Right? Heavy on having the time. Life is busy out here, right?
Yes, exactly.
And speaking of education, you, my friend, will go down in history books as the first Black female lead puppeteer on Sesame Street. So, first and foremost, congratulations on that.
Thank
How,
you.
what road led you to Sesame Street, and what does it mean for you to be the first Black female puppeteer?
Like a bird soaring way up high.
I've always admired the level of excellence and the legacy of Sesame Street to the point where I pinned Sesame Street on my vision as just something to aspire to that level of excellence. Um, but I didn't actually see myself getting to the show. So I applied to the Jim Henson Company to be a puppeteer, which is a different company than Sesame Street, similar roots but different companies. And I submitted an audition tape, even though their website clearly said we are not taking auditions. I still sent it anyway, and I was like, I'm just going to try. It's probably going to end up in a trash bin, but I'll try. So I sent that in 2017. In 2020, I got an email from one of the producers at Sesame Street, who's also a puppet captain, and he said, "Hey, I had some downtime because of the pandemic. We stopped production, and I have access to the files at Jim Henson Company. I came across your packet, and based on your letter, I think you would be interested in Sesame Street. Would you be willing to give us a try?" And I'm like, yes. I was 6 weeks pregnant at the time, working full time in real estate. Realistically, I probably should have said no, but I figured this is a one in a lifetime once in a lifetime opportunity, and I don't want to let this moment pass me by. And so I took a chance and learned a new style of puppetry, Muppet style television puppetry. I had to completely relearn every skill that I thought I knew well. So it was humbling and also an honor to work with the masters. I consider the masters that are with Sesame Street.
There you go again, being a student to the game, always learning something new.
That was a class. I was in their mentorship program, which was essentially a class, and we would have homework every after every Zoom meeting. And so I was in that program for I think about a year and a half.
hmm So with that, you said that Muppet style puppetry is completely different than what the traditional style that you're used to. How much did it differ? How much did you have to completely alter your brain programming basically to pursue your career through Sesame Street?
I had to change everything. So I did ventriloquist style puppetry. So put my puppet on a stand and I was performing on stage with my characters where Muppet style puppetry, the puppeteer isn't seen. Our bodies are below the frame of the camera. And for that reason, also, we use monitors to perform. So we're watching the TV camera image to move, but the image that we see on the screen is not a mirror of the camera. It is the true camera's image. So when I move to the right with Gabrielle, the monitor is showing me moving to the left. And so that was a completely new physical, mental struggle skill that I had to learn. And it took months and to get comfortable with it and years to master.
Wow, it's amazing, especially seeing like the behind the scenes footage that you guys often share and then seeing the final product. It's amazing. Like, do you guys oftentimes accidentally have your whole arm showing the frame? It's like, oh crap, we gotta redo
Yeah, it happens in different takes, and it's another reason Sesame Street is so excellent. They're really a machine with production. Most of the time, I would say we get scenes done in 1 to 3 takes, and
Wow.
so you better hope you do it right the first time. We're not going to be all there all day doing 5 to 10 takes on one scene. They move very efficiently. And so that was a little bit of a pressure as a newbie coming in. It's like, I don't want to be the one that makes, everyone have to do this 3 times. And so I practice over and over to kind of get some of those mistakes out of the way on my own.
Yes, and you portray a very prominent Muppet, especially in the Black community. You portray 6-year-old Black girl Muppet Gabrielle. How do you believe her character impacts young Black girls or young Black children in general who watch Sesame Street?
If someone says I can't play with them because of the way I look, I can be an upstander for my.
It was important for me that Gabrielle represented everything that I needed as a young Black girl. I needed more confidence. I needed to feel like I belonged. And I needed to believe in all of my talents and gifts. And so I make sure that Gabrielle, even if she's unsure, she's confident that she can find the answer. She's confident that everyone in the room knows that she belongs and is a part of the community. She's very clear about her interests and her loves, but also has a really special connection to nature and to her friends like Abby and Elma.
Yes, I love that. What does portraying Gabrielle mean to you personally and professionally?
Bessie Coleman, a show and tell by me, Gabrielle.
Portraying Gabrielle is one of the greatest honors of my career because I know she's molding foundational um, concepts of self-esteem and belonging for children around the world.
Yes. And you mentioned earlier when you first got the call about Sesame Street, you were pregnant. So, having 2 young boys, how do you balance and navigate motherhood as well as still pursuing your career? How does that work for you? I'm
It
sure it gotta be busy.
it was rough learning Muppet style puppetry while pregnant because it's very physical, holding your hand in the air. Remember, I had a mentorship lesson, a one-on-one with Peter Lenz. He performs Ernie on Sesame Street, and I was also a Muppet performer. And I was 8 months pregnant, and we had gotten through maybe 30 minutes. And at that point, I just started asking questions so I could get a break, putting my sweating, puffing and puffing, and but he was very understanding and helping me get through it. But it was challenging. But overall, having my 2 boys gives me more motivation to achieve and to try to reach for my dreams because I don't want to just tell them that they can do anything or tell them to go for their dreams. I want to show them what it looks like to sacrifice and work hard for something that you love.
Absolutely. And I know they're young, but I'm curious. Have they, either of them, shown any interest in puppetry or ventriloquism since you're their mama and I'm sure they've seen you do it either at work or around the house. How does that work?
They definitely have an interest. It took them a very long time for them to believe me that I was doing. I would be in the room with them watching what I'd recorded on set, and I'd say, "Look, that's mommy," and they'd be like, "No, that's Gabrielle, your mommy."
Kids are
But
so
now,
cool.
Yes, they're very brutal and they're my top critics, but they've taken an interest in puppeteering. They love singing. They write songs and record with me now.
I love
So
that.
they've grown.
Teach them while they're
Mhm.
young.
Yes, they're teaching themselves by watching me.
Right. Now, throughout your time in the entertainment industry, what would you say has been the most valuable lesson that you've learned thus far?
The most valuable lesson that I've learned, um, this is one of my most memorable lessons when I was eliminated from America's Got Talent. I was so sad and in my feelings and feeling like, I had to quit and go for my my plan B of working in corporate and doing all the things that I felt like I had to do because I didn't get to the next level. And Howard Stern off camera said to me, people tell me no all the time. Sometimes no puts you in the direction where you're meant to be.
Mhm.
And that was wonderful advice because it pushed me to not take that as a, oh, just because I didn't get this, I need to stop and try something else. No, you can get better. You can practice, you can try, you can keep trying and fail and fail and fail. And sometimes those failures lead to where you're meant to be.
Yes. And honestly, I feel like there has been a common pattern that it's always best to kind of lose in these competitions because I feel like when people lose, you get the most recognition and move forward. I feel like sometimes the winners don't get as much.
Yeah,
I mean, like obviously first season of American Idol and stuff like that, like they
right.
do
I
well.
love Kelly.
But I feel like after that, I feel like the true talent always gets let go first, and then they're always the one who gets picked up and they soar. So that
Well,
was
what makes a true
blessing in
talent is being
disguise.
able to try over and over again and being willing to take risk and to perfect your craft. And all of the greats have that quality of not quitting.
Absolutely. And you've done so many great things throughout your career from a young tyke to now as an adult. What would you say has been the most memorable or your favorite moment thus far? And it could be anything.
Yeah, one of my favorite moments was when I was in high school. I'll never forget this. So, Cincinnati has a renowned children's hospital. Children and their families come from around the world to be treated there. So, there's a Ronald McDonald House for the families of children that are being treated where they can stay inexpensively instead of, getting a hotel every night for 2 months. There's a solid residency place for them to stay. And so I did a puppet show for some of the children that were healthy enough to come over to the theater room and their parents. And after the show, there are a few kids that were just in love with my character, Baby Junebug, so much. And there was a little 2-year-old girl who believed in his magic so much. She wanted, a full conversation with him. She also wanted to perform with him, to perform for him. And so she's only 2, but on an oxygen tank. So she had to take very deep breaths in between almost every word. She sang Jesus Loves Me to Baby Junebug and held his hand. That was the most incredible experience of my life because I knew in that moment that baby Junebug was able to go so far deep into her imagination for her to be inspired to then perform for him.
Oh, I would have lost it. I already knew I would have folded like a chair when that moment happened. That is a beautiful memory, honestly.
Yeah.
Like that's something I would take forever. So shout outs to that. Oh my God. Do you still get involved in things like that? Or I know your schedule's probably busy, but do you try to make time to do puppetry like for charities or organizations like that?
Yeah, all the time. It's what makes, what I do worth it. And it's the real purpose behind, I think, what I do is service and bringing joy and laughter through something that's just so silly that puppets are just silly to me.
Right.
So Brian Seacrest has a chain of podcast studios throughout children's hospitals throughout America.
Yeah, I
So
heard
have you
about
heard of those? Yeah, so Seacrest Studios, they have a whole room with studio equipment where the kids can come down and run their own show, and it's streamed live to all the rooms. And so local celebrities like baseball players, singers, actresses, if they're in that area, we can just stop by and do a talk show with the kids. And so I've been to Seacrest Studios here in Nashville and in Cincinnati.
I like that. Yes, I got to check that out.
It's
Now,
amazing.
everything that you have been doing, I'm sure you still have a lot more in store. So, what is next for Megan Piphus? What can our listeners expect to see and hear from you in the future? I know you have this new project that you mentioned earlier. Would you like to remind everybody and let them know whatever else you would like to share, or obviously whatever you can disclose?
Of course, yeah. I just released my single, A New Cinderella. So go listen, go stream. I also released a fun dance to it, transitioning from just some regular clothes to fancy formal clothes like Cinderella.
Yeah.
But later this month, I have a pretty cool surprise of a music video that we'll be releasing that involves some of the girls from the Saving Our Daughters organization are featured in it. And we also have another fun surprise in the music video. So that'll be coming out early May, and look out for the album in July.
Yes, big things on the horizon. So, for everyone who wants to stay up to date for the secrets and all the big stuff that you want to reveal, how can they do that? How can they find you?
Yes, I am on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook under my name, just Megan Piphus, at Megan Piphus.
There we go. Make sure you guys follow, support, stay up to date on all the amazing, incredible things that Megan has going on. But before you guys go, make sure you also follow us. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at _ all of the above one. That is how you'll stay up to date with everything that is going on with our show. And also make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are on YouTube at All the Above Podcast. That is where you will see this amazing interview with the beautifully talented Megan Piphus, as well as a host of other celebrity interviews, local interviews, and anything that you can imagine. And last but not least, make sure you also visit www.alltheabove-podcast.com. That is where you will have all the information of all the above, so you have no excuse to miss anything. All the links are there. Megan, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you for having me. It was great talking to you.
Absolutely. Keep inspiring and do the great things that you're doing out here.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, I'm your girl, Angel Marie, and we will see you guys next time.
Wednesdays at 7, Angel Marie and Kevin playing the illest records, bringing us back together. Philly is all season, storming through any weather, leaving the track bleeding, where we pull it together. We applying my pressure, I am your new professor, teaching in some semester, pay attention to lessons. I like a chili pepper fresh out of Louisiana, it's all the above, best believe we do it better. I want the fame.